Alright everyone, it's that time again. Everyone, it's that time again. Time for another Strange and Dark Cases compilation. This is where I take all the shorter cases I come across while researching, or from submissions that are too short for their own video but are definitely worth talking about, and combine them all into one big video. With that out of the way, let's get started. Alright, so here we've got man kills his stepson over a Fortnite argument.
Holy shit.
In Davenport...
I gotta get a drink, dude. This guy killed his son over a fucking Fortnite, dude. Oh my god. Shut off your TV in the living room. Especially loud as fuck. Alrighty, let's stream a little bit, man. Especially because I got fucking work the next 6 days. God, those people who can stream for a living are so fucking lucky, dude. I swear.
Florida, Kelly Garcia, a 43-year-old man, was living with his wife, Adrienne Days, 48 years old. The two of them had gotten married after Adrienne had already had 3 kids. One of them, Azariel, was already 26 years old. The other two...
Let me guess, he kills the 26-year-old. Dude, I'm 28, and you're not going to catch me playing Fortnite unless you guys pay me to do it.
Who were a bit younger, being 11 and 9 years old. Azariel, the oldest son, didn't really approve of his mother's relationship with his new stepfather, to say the least. It was said that Kelly basically ruled over the household, disciplining his younger siblings pretty harshly. This all culminated one night when the
So he's like a big-ass grown man-child? Man, leave the disciplining to the fucking adults, dude, the parents. Don't let your fucking stepson or stepbrother, whatever the fuck.
9-year-old son was playing Fortnite on his phone. This was in spite of his mother telling him that he wasn't allowed to play that night. Azariel, the older brother, let the boy into his room and allowed him to play the game anyway, not really caring about the parents' ban. After his parents found out that he was still playing the game, they took the phone away, leading to the kid being very angry. The 9-year-old ran into his stepfather's room and got his 9mm handgun out of his nightstand, the location of which was known to even the youngest child. The gun was already loaded and wasn't secured in any way. The stepfather, Kelly, wrestled the gun away from him and got the gun out of his hands. Azariel then entered into the room, seeing his younger brother in a frenzy. While it might seem that the parents were only trying to be normal, functioning parents who gave their kids rules to follow by this point, Kelly's next actions would prove that he was anything but well-intentioned. He started to argue with Azariel, blaming him for the entire ordeal for letting the kid play Fortnite in his room in the first place. He raised up the handgun he had taken from the boy and aimed it at Azariel. He shot him several times in the chest and stomach.
So the dad was a dumb fucking idiot. You shot the fucking guy because you let the kid play Fortnite on a phone. What a bitch-made motherfucker, dude.
When he then tried to run from the room, Kelly once again shot him twice in the back. Azariel managed to make his way back into his room.
Oh yeah, he's getting fucked in his ass right now. There ain't nobody in the system gonna be sitting there listening to this man's story about how he fucking shot his stepson because he let his son play fucking Fortnite. Everybody in there's gonna pass this bitch-made motherfucker around.
Room and shut the door. He collapsed to the floor. It seems that either he or someone else in the family called the police as he was taken to the hospital shortly after. When
Damn, bro. Stream just started and I'm getting aggressive as fuck on this dude. What up, Watcher?
the police came out to the home, the scene was immediately apparent to have been violent. Neighbors said that they could even see blood seeping out from the front door of the home. In the end, Azariel still died from his injuries quickly after being admitted. Kelly Garcia was then arrested and carted off to jail. The police then interviewed the family for the next 4 hours, trying to figure out what exactly had led to the shooting. It gradually led them to find out that an argument over letting the youngest son play Fortnite had led to the murder. Kelly has since been charged with both second-degree murder and unlawful storage of a firearm accessible to a minor. The police have said that they believe the whole incident wouldn't have happened if the youngest son didn't have access to the gun.
No, the whole thing wouldn't have happened if Homeboy wasn't a dumb fucking idiot.
And this one is, Mom shoots son over loud video games.
Oh my god, dude. Now the mom's fucking doing it. God help us all.
A 38-year-old man in Arizona had let his 72-year-old mother move in with him, and she didn't really like the fact that he played video games. To be more specific, she didn't like the noise coming from the TV when he played.
So, it's not like he was living with her, she was living with him. And she didn't like what he was doing? Well then, bitch, move the fuck out. Go be homeless on the streets.
Played video games. One night, the mom, Hazel Benson, decided to call the police out to the home to tattle on her son for playing games too loudly. The
fuck are the police gonna do?
police came out to the home, but they expressed that they had very little interest in this very minor family beef. They asked the two of them to settle the matter themselves, given that no crime had even taken place in the slightest, especially when it was seen that the son had legal standing, being that it was his home. They then left the home to go deal with some actual problems. The son was so angry that his mom had just called the cops on him for his TV being too loud that he decided to go on a walk to calm down. When he came back to the house a short while later, he found that his mom had locked and barricaded all the doors. He went around to the back door of the home and tried to get in that way. When he couldn't, he started pounding on the door, telling his mom to let him in. When she got annoyed by the sound of him knocking on the door, she pulled out a gun and shot him. It was now 8:50 p.m.
His mom is a fucking idiot, dude. What a dumb bitch.
and the
You lock the man out of his home, and you shoot him for knocking on his door.
police were making it back out to the home very shortly after they had been called out the first time. They found the son, luckily with non-life-threatening injuries. Still, he had been shot in the stomach and needed to be taken to the hospital. The mother, Hazel, was arrested and hit with charges of assault, disorderly conduct, and discharge of a firearm within city limits. Hazel told the police that she had shot her son after he lunged towards her with balled fist at his side, which didn't really go over too well as the police could see that he was outside when he was shot from the inside. She had...
Yeah, I told you, man. She's fucking retarded, dude. She can't even lie, right, dude? If you can't lie, then just fucking admit you're an idiot.
told the police that she wasn't even sure if she had hit her son, but it was further found that she had immediately ran to a local canal and thrown the gun into the river. Her son is expected to make a full recovery after being hospitalized. With his mother now in jail...
Ooh, if my mama ever shot me, oh my god. And I survived? Oh my god. There better be a god.
He'll at least be allowed to play video games at whatever volume he wants.
Yeah, dude, and I'd be sending her fucking videos and pictures of me playing video games with the fucking thing out blasted loud, dude. Oh my god. She shot him for
And here we go.
games.
Florida man shoots a guy in a rage over mayonnaise.
Ah! That's just the classic Florida shit right there, man. Shooting a man over fucking mayonnaise, dude. Oh, bro, I love Florida.
Let's just keep it going with these stories about people shooting each other for really dumb reasons.
Bro, we're Florida, dog. We throw alligators at people for cutting us off in traffic, dude. I can only imagine. Like, dude, my ex-girlfriend worked with this girl who beat the shit out of a 5-member family. Like there was the mom, the dad, and 3 kids. Her coworker beat the shit out of all 5 of them, dude. It was crazy.
The case took place in Kissimmee, Florida, at a small fast food place called Checkers. A light conflict started when a man pulled up to the drive-thru, made his order, and then noticed that he was missing some mayonnaise. He complained at the window about his missing condiments. He gave the typical, "I want to speak to your manager" several times during the argument. After this, things
I want to speak to your manager. I love hearing that whenever I'm the manager, because then it's like, all right, sir, hold on one sec. How can I help you?
escalated pretty quickly. The man in the car, Wesley Robertson, got out of his car and
Yeah, he looks like a typical Florida boy.
continued to argue with the woman at the window. This was when
To be more specific, this guy looks like he's from like Central Florida.
another employee, Elijah Mackey, made his way out to the front door of the store and walked over to the window to confront Wesley. He started to argue with him even more loudly and wildly. When Elijah began to threaten Wesley, Wesley called him a pussy. Elijah responded with, "Oh, I am a pussy," before pulling out a gun and shooting him in the chest.
Famous last
Wesley then
words.
collapsed and smashed his head into the restaurant wall. Elijah tried to run away, but quickly returned to the restaurant to grab his bag before running out again. On foot, he made his way through several carnival attractions and over to a local Celebration Suites hotel. He hid under the stairwell, but the police found him pretty quickly. When the police began to cuff him, Elijah said, "I have a gun on me." The police then took it away and continued to arrest him as he asked, "Is the dude okay?" several times in a row. Dude was not okay, as Wesley had been pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the hospital. Elijah Mackey was charged with first-degree premeditated murder. He appeared in court once and was denied bond. It seems he couldn't find an attorney as he was appointed one by the court. Right now, he remains in Osceola County Jail. And here's a wild one. Boy dies after being hit with a piece of cheese. While this one definitely isn't a shooting, I guess you could make the argument that it involves some kind of
So this kid died after getting hit with cheese? That must have been some Gouda shit.
projectile weapon. This story took place in Greenford, West London. There, Karanbir Singh Chima, called Karan for short, was a 13-year-old boy that was allergic to basically everything.
Oh,
He was
God.
allergic to eggs, nuts, wheat, gluten, pollen, and all dairy products. On top of
Just lock that boy in a room, man. He can't do anything. He can't go nowhere. This boy should have been living in a bubble.
that, he also suffered from atopic eczema. One day in school, a 15-year-old boy decided to sit next to Karan. Karan told the older boy that he was allergic to the sandwich he was eating and asked him to move. So this boy decided to get back at him for making him move by throwing a piece of cheese at him from about a foot away. At their school, this kind of mild prank was very
Yo, death by cheese, bruh. Holy shit. That boy should have lived in a bubble, dude. If somebody throws a piece of fucking cheese at you and that kills you, holy shit.
common, as it is for a lot of 8th graders out there. The cheese hit Karan in the neck, leading to him having a severe reaction. The boy who threw it said that, while he knew Karan was allergic to dairy, he didn't know that cheese was dairy. He later said, "At the
Bruh. What the fuck you mean you don't know cheese is dairy? Don't they teach that to you in like fucking first grade? Oh my god.
time I didn't know dairy was cheese. Milk and yogurt, I would say that was dairy. I knew he was allergic to some things, like dairy and pollen. I knew he probably had more allergies, but I was only informed of the other ones." Karan went into anaphylactic shock and was taken into the school nurse's office. There, he was given some medication
Yo, so he just touched, like the cheese just touched him and that killed him. It's not like the kid threw it in his mouth or anything?
and treated with his inhaler and his EpiPen. There was a problem, though. While he had this EpiPen waiting for him at school, he hadn't needed it in quite some time and it had gotten very old, leading to it being much less effective than it should have been. Soon after, Karan went into full-on cardiac arrest. Shortly after the paramedics arrived at school, he was still gasping for air. Unfortunately, this ended very quickly after they arrived, as he soon lost the ability to breathe at all. He was taken to the Great Ormond Street Hospital and put into intensive care, but sadly he died only 10 days later when efforts
All this because of a fucking piece of cheese. Like, what is going on? Yeah, cheese. Guy looks like he was in a fucking car accident, dude.
to save him failed. He was diagnosed with post-cardiac arrest syndrome, leading to his parents making the difficult decision to pull the plug. In a court hearing, the boy who threw the piece of cheese profusely apologized to Karan's parents, saying, "I didn't mean any harm. I'm sorry for what I did." When asked by the coroner if he knew what kind of reaction someone could get from an allergy, he responded, "I thought maybe he would get a fever or a rash and miss school for a while. I didn't know it could lead to death." Karan's mom said that her son was very diligent about his medical conditions and was in good health when she saw him that morning. A consultant at the hospital told her that it was extremely unlikely for mere skin contact with the food to cause a person to go into anaphylactic shock. Karan's mom said, "In her 30 years in medicine, she was confident that a child wouldn't have an anaphylactic reaction with something going down his neck." Much of the same...
Yeah, see, even the doctors are like, that's a little strange, dude. Like, death by cheese touch? I guess Diary of the Wimpy Kid knew something.
...was reiterated by a pediatric allergy consultant named Dr. Adam Fox. He said, "Where this case is extraordinarily unusual is the nature of the event that led to the anaphylaxis. Because severe allergic reactions through skin contact are very, very uncommon indeed, and if it was skin contact alone that caused, in this case, fatal anaphylaxis, I believe that to be unprecedented. I have been unable to find any case reports. I've canvassed wildly around this and I'm not aware of any fatal cases." And here we've got, "Man throws grenade at ex-girlfriend's house."
Oh my god, dude. We go from cheese touch to throwing your grenade at your ex-girlfriend's house. One extreme to the next.
Continuing the trend of throwing things, here we have another really weird case from out in Thailand.
You said with the trend of throwing things, dude. There's a big difference between cheese and a fucking grenade, bruh.
Thailand's Surat Thani province at around 8 a.m., a guy pulled up to his
Yeah, this guy looks like he's got problems.
ex-girlfriend's house after they had been arguing online. The woman's mother reported that he had been dating the woman for only 2 months before they had broken up. It came to be clear that the man, Surapong Thongnak, had previously been in prison for 5 months due to meth-related offenses. He had been living in some temporary accommodation near his ex's house. Surapong wanted to get back with her, but she just wasn't having it. So he decided to go to her house and try to convince her in person. When she still wasn't too keen on the idea, feeling that he was a criminal, he decided to prove her right by pulling out a pair of scissors and trying to stab her. Some nearby neighbors managed to pull him off and subdue him before he managed to hurt her. Surapong wasn't done there, though. He returned to his car and pulled out an object that would serve as his backup plan, an actual real hand grenade. More specifically, it was an M26 fragmentation grenade. He
where the fuck do you get that? Walmart?
Walked back up to his ex's front door and pulled the pin. He then threw it at her and the neighbors who had previously stopped him. Luckily for them, the grenade hit a concrete pillar and bounced right back at him. He quickly leaned down to pick it up and throw it back again, but it blew up in his hands, killing him and injuring 4 of the neighbors. His ex-girlfriend had actually...
Bruh. What the fuck?
avoided injury entirely by running back into the house. The police were called out to the scene, finding that the place had been littered with debris and
Bruh, forgot to turn on friendly fire.
shrapnel. They pretty quickly found their suspect lying face down in a pool of blood, already far gone. The injured neighbors, 2 men and 2 women, were taken to a nearby hospital to be treated for their injuries. When the police further investigated Surapong's car, they found that he hadn't changed his ways at all. In fact, he was carrying half a kilo of meth right there in his car.
Jesus Christ, a half a kilo of meth. Oh my god, dude. If you had that much meth here in America, bro, you'd be rich.
Here's a truly weird one. Venezuelan migrant father pretends to be 16-year-old at school. Recently, there has been a really weird trend of foreigners coming to the US to pretend to be high school students. Last time it was a guy from South Korea, but this time it's a Venezuelan man. This story started in 2023 when a man, going by Anthony, claimed that he had been trafficked from Venezuela into the US. Given that he didn't have any documents on his person and was claiming to be a victim of trafficking, the police didn't really have anything to go on beyond his word. He said that he had been born in 2007, meaning that he would have been around 16 years old at the time. He began to attend a local high school in Toledo, Ohio, listing his name as Anthony Labrador. While at school, he applied for and got his hands on all sorts of documentation to make his stay legal. He got a visa with the help of an organization called Advocating Opportunities that provides free legal assistance. He also got a driver's license, a social security number, and protective status from the U.S. Immigration Department. It was reported that he did well at school, competed on a couple of different sports teams, and even dated a lot of girls. However, his high school...
That's fucking disgusting.
School life would come crashing down about 14 months later. He was living with a family who had legally become his guardians. This family, the Melfreds, were contacted by a woman named Evelyn Camacho who told them that Anthony was actually a 24-year-old man and the father of her kid. She even sent them a picture of his previous driver's license, which showed that he was born in 2001. She even included some photos of him with his child. Anthony was contacted by school officials. The Melfreds were ordered to keep him off of school property as the investigation continued. When it was found that he was indeed this 24-year-old man, the police opened up a fraud case against him. He was actually...
Bro couldn't get past the high school glory days. That's fucking crazy.
Anthony Emmanuel Labrador Sierra, meaning that he didn't even pick a completely different name when creating this false identity. This also meant that some of the girls he dated at the school were nearly 10 years younger than him. When Anthony first appeared in court from jail via video, he smirked to the cameras. The judge set his bond at $50,000 and told him that he wasn't allowed to leave the country. He's been stuck with an ankle monitor, living only about 2 miles away from the school that he attended. When asked where he was staying, he said that he would be with a woman named Emily that he also had children with. Being that Anthony isn't even a citizen, it has been said that his charges will most likely lead towards deportation. To make things even worse with the underage girls situation, the police have said that they also found questionable material on his computer where he was staying. Anthony has pled not guilty to all the charges against him. It looks like he only has a court-appointed lawyer. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, it looks like he very well may be facing federal charges as well. Check this one out. Fart leads to death threats.
Dude, these stories keep getting better and better. Bruh.
Another trend that we've seen recently has been a whole lot of fart and poop-related crimes. I've actually already made an entire video dedicated to poop-related crimes, but at this rate I could probably make another one. And that brings us to this case. This story started when a 37-year-old woman named Shanetta Yvette Wilson ripped a gnarly fart at a Dollar General in Dania Beach, Florida. After snorting up some of her butt dust against his will, another customer named John Walker made a comment about her fart that Shanetta didn't really appreciate. This led to her verbally lashing out at the man. Shanetta then pulled out a long knife from her purse. She opened up her knife and told John that she was going to gut him for daring to point out her noxious blast. She pulled her hand back as if she were going to stab him before realizing that other people were watching. She then fled the store, leaving everyone else in a state of shock and unpleasant smell. The police tracked her down shortly after too, not too far
She did not like getting called out for shit in her pants, dude.
from the store. Her victim was also able to identify her pretty easily. Shanetta was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill. She was taken into a Broward County jail and held on a $2,500 bond. The judge ended up giving her a conditional release. Not only would she have a 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, she would also have to wear an ankle monitor. In addition, she wasn't allowed to contact John ever again and was also banned from Dollar General. And hey, let's keep going down that path with Florida woman poops on floor as a distraction.
Oh, God. What is it with Florida and shit, dude? I walked into a Wawa one time and saw an old man just violently shit his pants, dude.
Again in Florida, Mulberry, Florida to be specific, we have another really shitty story. This one involves a criminal duo, a man and a woman, who played very different parts in this crime. The two walked into a local Family Dollar store, ready to hit it big. However, what they planned to steal wasn't money from the register or anything like that. It was cleaning supplies. The two loaded up a cart with about $500 worth of Gain, Tide, and Clorox products. It was then they decided to put their plan into place. The woman of the duo went to an area where a few of the employees were located and surprised them by dropping her pants. She then started to bend logs all over the floor of the store while her partner in crime made his way outside with the cleaning products. Needless to say, it did work, as most of the employees were completely flabbergasted by this grown woman flopping fat francs on the floor.
Yeah.
The man was caught on security camera footage as he walked out of the store with his overloaded cart. Shortly after, the woman, the excrement enthusiast, left the store with a smirk on her face as the employees stood there in horror. The employees were left to clean up the mess while the two criminals took off in their white van. The police told the public that the act, quote, caused a distraction for employees by using the restroom without going to the restroom. The floor was her restroom, and an employee had to clean that stuff up. The police began to refer to the two suspects as Mr. Clean and Miss Dookie, names that the media also chose to run with. With that statement, the police used a round of pretty funny hashtags as well. These included gems like hashtag he made a clean getaway and hashtag she can't really say the same. Another was, she wasn't suspect number 2 for nothing. It wasn't too long before both of the
Oh my god.
two were caught. The man, whose name was Nick Curry, was caught when he was arrested for another unrelated battery charge. They recognized him from the security camera footage from the Family Dollar. When they showed him the footage to his face, he fully admitted to his involvement. This led them to the woman, Tina Joyce. It was found that she had at least 14 prior theft convictions herself, although the police weren't able to confirm whether or not she had used this same strategy elsewhere. She was arrested and charged with felony petite theft. She was eventually released on a $5,000 bail. Her partner, though, was to remain in jail for his more serious charges. Eventually, when he's released on that one, he'll be delivered to Polk County to face charges for his crime. And here we have Thief Dildos is Through Shop. Alright, I don't even know how to introduce this one. While it doesn't really involve farting or pooping, it's definitely kind of something similar that goes up that alley. Given that I've gotten in trouble for, let's just call them plugs that go in your butt before, I'll have to use some workaround language when talking about this one. Here we have a crime that took place at the Love Shop, an erotic shop in Barcelona, Spain.
What the fuck?
Place is actually extremely popular, even being known amongst celebrities, said to be a favorite of both Beyoncé and Gwyneth Paltrow. The store features a number of pretty unique adult toys, some of them reaching prices as high as 17,000 euros. One of them was a solid gold vibrating.
People have too much money to spend on dumb shit.
Tool. One night, a criminal was caught on CCTV footage, breaking into the store with a flashlight. He made his way straight over to the display case at the center of the store with the most expensive items, clearly knowing where to find them. At first, he simply tried to force the cabinet open with his hands. When it wouldn't give, he noticed that he didn't bring any sort of blunt item with him to smash the glass. So he decided to grab one from the store, choosing a large, vibrating tool to do the job. He then threw that straight through the glass, shattering it. The man then took 4 very valuable vibrating tools, shoving them into his pockets. One of them, the golden one, was worth about 15,000 euros itself. With all the others included, he had about 40,000 euros worth of goods in total. He then bolted out of the store and ran off into the night. When the police came out to investigate, they noted that the thief would have had a whole lot of trouble reselling the items. Not only were they well known to have been stolen from the store, but he also forgot the extra items that they came with, like their chargers, meaning that they were incomplete as products. It was also noted that the specific golden item would be very hard to melt down to only get the gold. Not only did the burglar fail to realize these things about the products, he had also forgotten to hide his identity. He, who the police referred to as Idiot, had forgotten to cover his face for
Dude must have been on one hell of a bender, bro.
The cameras or even wear gloves, causing him to have left fingerprints all over the place. Funnily enough though, it seems that the thief, as of now, has gotten away with it. And now, jail goes into lockdown after criminal goes missing. On this channel, we pretty often go over cases in which the criminals or the police are stupid in one way or another, but it's not too often we come across one where the entire jail itself is a complete catastrophe. It's hard to explain this one in the title itself without spoiling the whole thing, so let's just get into it. This story began with a man named Julian Brooks DeLoach who was being held in Clayton County Jail in Georgia. Julian had been convicted of murder all the way back in 1984. It seems that he actually did get parole at some point, which was quickly revoked after he committed a misdemeanor crime and ended up back in jail shortly after. One night, it was found that this convicted murderer was missing from his cell, sending jail staff into a complete panic and causing the entire place to go into a lockdown as a massive manhunt began to take place. The county sheriff tried to reassure the public that they were doing everything that they could. He spoke to the media, saying, "We searched every cell, every area of the jail." For 12 hours, all hands were on deck searching for Julian, their supposed escaped murderer. However, at 7 a.m. the next morning, they would come to find him. Julian was sitting alone at the courthouse, where he had been the previous day. The jail staff who had been supposed to escort him had simply forgotten about him. He was sitting there in a courthouse holding cell with only a bench, a sink, and a toilet, and had been there for about 14 hours. So the sheriff explained, There was a mix-up of who was going to take the inmate down, before naming a few employees that he blamed for the mix-up. It was said that many staff members would either be demoted or suspended, with 4 of them waiving their right to a hearing. While that's all bad enough, there have been a good number of dumb controversies at this same prison over the past couple of years. In 2022, a private memo sent out to jail staff was leaked. Within that memo, the staff were ordered to stop giving the keys of the jail to the inmates, saying that it has caused a rise in inappropriate behavior. Yes, the staff had actually been giving the inmates the keys to the facility. The jail came under a lot of fire from both the media
Oh god. I see why this segment's called Dumb Jail.
and people living nearby. After that, 2 other workers at the jail were arrested on fraud charges. One was found to have been using his phone to let inmates pay him over Cash App to bring them food from the jail kitchen at all hours like room service. He also charged them $32 for a single deck of cards and accepted over $500 for lighters, weed, and cigars that he never even brought them. Another officer, a female one named Mary Moore, ended up in jail herself after she was caught having relations with one of the inmates right in front of a security camera. All of this has led to the locals asking, in their words, what the hell is going on at that jail?
Yeah, what's even the point of it?
Once again,
That was fucking good. Oh my god. That was fucking hilarious.
The book Blood Meridian is the most terrifying. The judge
I keep hearing a lot about this Blood Meridian book. I gotta read it. I like reading and everything. It's just I don't have money for books and stuff. I guess when I do, I'm gonna buy this book and read it.
from the book Blood Meridian is the most terrifying villain ever written. He's a 7-foot-tall figure who never sleeps, as he is like a fox and not a hair to his body. He weighs 24 stone, giving him a similar profile to Olivia Richter's, a 7'2" bodybuilder who weighs 23.6 stone. But the judge is silent and serene, even in violence. He kills a man by squeezing his head, saves his own gang of mercenaries by making gunpowder from their urine, and in the book's 1849 setting, negotiates with all hostiles in their native language. The judge botanizes plants, devours children, and regularly says he will never die. But what makes him most terrifying is that he was also, as you'll see, a real man. This whole video could simply tell stories of the judge's
Wait, so the guy was based off a real dude? Holy shit.
deranged exploits, and it will in an attempt to answer a question: who or what is the judge? Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy follows a nameless drifter called the Kid. The Kid, in his idleness, joins the Glanton Gang, killers hired by Mexican and American authorities to scalp Native Americans in 1849. The men plunder and pillage, but for all their degeneracy, none come close to the judge. We first meet the judge in a church tent. He's an albino, bald as a stone, with no brows to his eyes. And as his first action of the story, he exposes the preaching reverend. He is not only totally illiterate, the judge claims, but also wanted by the law. The most recent charge involving a girl of 11 years, who had come to him in trust. This arouses such revulsion that a churchgoer takes up arms and fires. The reverend dies, havoc ensues, and the judge goes to a bar. A drinker asks the judge how he came upon the reverend to know all that stuff on him. "I never laid eyes on the man before today," the judge says. "Never even heard of him." The men laugh, and someone buys the judge a drink. Throughout the story, the judge has an alarming command of people, but he also commands the earth.
So the dude just walked into church and just accused the fucking pastor of being a child diddler, and people believed it? Man's charisma must be like fucking level 100.
In one scene, when the Glanton gang is being hunted by Apaches, the judge leads them up a mountain. It seems the gang has cornered itself, until at the top, the judge starts digging. He makes gunpowder out of nitro and the sulfur of brimstone and the men's own piss, and it dries just in time for them to shoot the bewildered Apaches, who thought their prey was disarmed. movement. This move by the judge is inspired by Satan from Paradise Lost, who creates a cannon and gunpowder from rocks. Just like Satan, the judge's greatest tool is his knowledge. He commits things to memory, then eradicates them. One night, he finds a footpiece from a suit of armor which is 3 centuries old. First, the judge sketches it, then he crushes it into a ball of foil and pitches it into the fire. And after that, just sits, content, seeming much satisfied with the world, as if his counsel had been sought at its creation. This is what the judge does. He learns and destroys. And this MO applies to living things as well as objects. In one scene, the judge buys puppies off a boy. He inspects them, then tosses them into a river to be shot. And more than anything, the judge hates birds, because birds can't easily be captured. The freedom of birds is an insult to me, he says. Whatever exists, whatever in creation exists without my knowledge, exists without my consent, including children. One morning, after the judge is spotted yelling at lightning in the previous night's storm, a boy is found dead, lying face down naked amid old bones. And in another instance, the judge offers little candy death's heads to children, and a page later, a little girl is missing. A third young girl disappears after she coincides with the judge in a music hall. And then there are the implications of human experiments. Soon after the Glanton gang commandeers a village,
yeah, I gotta read this book, man. That's what?
the judge is found in his quarters, naked. With him, also naked, is his disabled human pet, known as the Idiot. And the Idiot is beside what looks like a girl of perhaps 12, cowering in the floor. Of the judge's many victims, the most tragic is the story's main character. The kid, who by the end is 45 years old, encounters the judge in a bar. This night, thy soul may be required of thee, the judge warns him. And it is. When the kid goes to the outhouse toilet, the judge is waiting for him, seated upon the closet, naked. The judge rises up smiling, gathers the kid in his arms against his immense and terrible flesh, shoots the bar latch home, and that is the end of the kid. Learn and destroy, that is what the judge does. What the judge is a different question. But Cormac
So they never get rid of the judge? They never beat him? Nothing?
McCarthy gives us some clues. We are told the judge never sleeps, he does not age, is known in all places, and says he will never die. Toward the end, when hunting the kid,
Sorry guys, one sec.